Here with Ken Berger out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, by way of the Marine Corps, state of New Jersey. You've pretty much been around the world, but call Virginia your home. Right now you're here in London. Got to do a little bit of microphone work. First of all, Ken, how many Olympic Games is this for you?
Jason, this was my 5th Olympic Games. Having a lot of fun here, and it's great to see a fellow Virginian from Pocosa, Virginia.
Bull Island.
I know you're a Bull Islander. Great to see you, Jason.
Well, as far as the Olympic presence here, we've got the English announcer from right here. You've been kind of serving a dual role. You've been announcing the commentary on the mat, but you've also been on these overhead screens here, giving the fans a little bit of a rules clinic, because Great Britain, not a wrestling country per se, but it's the fans here kind of really taken to your explanations. What went into the decision, and how did you end up being the rules guy here for the fans?
Well, first of all, I want to commend John Taylor, who's the British announcer here, who's doing all the introductions, the medals, the awards. He is the voice of rugby, known throughout England, and he's learned the rules of wrestling. I keep him on track a little bit there, being a referee for amateur wrestling and international wrestling. He listens, he learns, he's a good learner, he's got a great voice, and he's doing the major announcing as far as the administrative. I'm doing most of the color commentary, and now he's picking up on it. So thank God, 2 announcers for 8 days is the right decision. But when I came here, the British asked me if I would give a show and tell them about the history of wrestling. I would tell them a little bit about the sport, and it seems like they've kind of brought me into the group. When the show goes over, I'm telling people what's going on, what's happening on the mat. And actually, we've had some good reviews from the normal British Londoners coming here to the arena that said they're really enjoying wrestling because they understand what's going on. They've had a great mix of music, the announcing, but most importantly, of course, the wrestling has been #1 out here. Tremendous wrestling. This is day 5, 3 more days to go. Still have my voice. I'm happy about that, and thanks to that we have another announcer here doing the work. Of course, we also had the French announcer Jerome, who's doing a great job.
In terms of the wrestling, and as it comes to announcing, the higher level that you get to see, obviously you've done high school tournaments and college tournaments for years. There's something special about calling a match at the Olympic Games. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, it's pretty exciting because, let's face it, the Olympic Games are the pinnacle of any athlete who is an announcer, and of course they're the same. You and I know that Ed Aliverti, for a number of years, I believe he may have announced at 5 Olympic Games, was the voice of amateur wrestling throughout the world. Of course, my hat's always off to Ed because he is the man who brought the announcing aspect to our great sport of wrestling. I remember when I was in college wrestling at the Naval Academy, my very first NCAA championships back in 1973. I can remember when he went, "Ken Berger from Navy is in trouble" on mat 4. And Ed taught me a lot. He was my mentor, a great guy, and very important things that Ed always told me was make sure that you are true to the sport of wrestling, because wrestling is a sport of the heart. So make sure that when you're announcing for the athlete, and make sure that you keep it pure and do the best you can, but be true to yourself and be true to the great sport of wrestling. So I've always followed Ed's advice when it comes to announcing.
You ever want to channel him just for a moment when there's a fall out there and go, "Fall!" I know you got your own style. You ever just want to throw that out there?
Oh, you mean like red, white, and blue? There's a pin on mat 2.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, I think at the Olympic Games we can't go red, white, and blue, pin on mat 2. It's a little different than when you and I are announcing at the Virginia Duels, when we can have some fun and, we've got a party going on mat C, but we can't.
So he can turn it off and on. You can just flip that switch.
Sure.
Camera, microphone's on. It's Berger mode.
You got it. Exactly, Jason.
As far as London as a venue, the wrestling facility here in a hall, we've got taekwondo, table tennis, boxing. We got a lot of stuff in this actual giant facility, which I believe they said is as big as 7 football fields. My accent's kind of wavering at this point, but as far as other Olympic venues you've been in, compare London to say Beijing and some other places as far as from the wrestling setup.
Beijing, you put 8,600 fans in the arena. The setup was very similar. And NLOC Hall in in Athens, Greece, we had around 8,000 fans. Here, the capacity is 10,000. It's been sold out every session. I'm thinking back to Atlanta. I can't remember the exact numbers that were back in Atlanta. Sydney, I believe we had about 8,600 fans. Here with 10,000 fans and being sold out at every session, it's tremendous. And the British fans are actually embracing this sport. The little show they put on before the action takes place has been really great because they go to the basics and they bring the fan and they involve it into the sport. The British are just great. London 2012 has done a great job putting this event on for wrestling, and I know right now the wrestling community are very appreciative of the great effort that the Brits have put forward to showcase our sport of Greco-Roman wrestling, women's freestyle wrestling, and men's freestyle wrestling, and they've all been terrific.